He's calling you out, Mo. It says, Mo, tell your team to cough up the 50 million for Balogun. You guys signed Onana on a free and sold him to Man United for around the same. Hashtag don't be cheap, Mo. Don't be cheap.
Me. I don't run the club. If it was me, Balogun for me is worth 25 million max for me. The guy played in the French league. I never seen the guy play football. I watched a couple of clips. He's good, all right. But he isn't, like for me, he isn't worth more than 25 million. They won. If Hojlund is worth 72 million, you got fleeced, bro. So I don't want to get fleeced as well. I'm all right.
Oh, we didn't get fleeced. What, he's going to bang goals in next year? What are you talking about?
Okay, I agree. Listen, I'm going to say that again, right? There are evidence isn't there that much that he will bang 25 goals. Like when Man City bought Haaland, there was evidence. Hojlund looks good, have potential, right? You paid for potential. That means you paid for hope to develop. You played for like future. But there are no evidence that Hojlund will score 25 goals in the league. This is like Arsenal. Arsenal paid 65 million for Havertz, right? They paid that based on the fact that they think that Arteta can bring the Leverkusen form back again. But based on the last 3 years, there was no justification of paying Chelsea kind of close to the same amount of money they paid for this guy when he was good at Leverkusen. There was no evidence for that.
Yeah, but fleeced, Mo, you could say that we overpaid, and I think most Man United fans have already agreed that we overpaid. But to say fleeced is like you promised me a PS5 and then you just sent me like a PS1 in the box, you know, and I can't return it now. That's calling. That's what fleeced is, you know. He's not gonna be bad.
I think as well. Look, there's countless examples in recent years of waiting. Once upon a time, Ben White was never worth anywhere near 50 million. Once upon a time, Arsenal were laughed at for spending 35. I think it was on Gabriel as an example, and they've been brilliant for them. And I think all of our clubs have probably got examples of players we've invested in. Everyone's gone, why are you spending? I remember when everyone laughed at 50 million for Bruno Fernandes. That's worked out all right. Now, there are bad examples as well, of course, but I'm going to say we got fleeced if in 2 or 3 years' time he's like Anthony Martial, unsellable. Nobody in Europe wants him. Then I'll say we got fleeced. But if he starts scoring goals and delivers and helps us win trophies, then you'll look back and say absolutely not. Like, in my opinion, I get where you're coming from, but you just don't know until they've delivered.
Thank you. Thank you.
But yeah, I don't think we've been fleeced as of right now. Speaking of Man United, we're going to come back to Arsenal a little bit later with some transfer stories. We're going to talk Chelsea. We're going to speak to some others. Man United, £30 million bid is in for Maguire. David, talk to me. Should Man United accept it, or do you think Maguire is worth more than the £30 million that's been offered for him?
Who offered 30 mil? Who?
West Ham. West Ham.
They are West Ham. They've been putting transfers on forums, so that makes perfect sense. They're lost. They are lost. 30 mil. I would have said 10 mil max. 30 mil if it was Maguire Mctominay package. By all means, I get that.
Stop it. Conor Gallagher for 40 million, and you want Scott McTominay and Maguire for what? What'd you say? 30 million?
Scott McTominay and Harry Maguire have not shown anything in the past like 2 years.
McTominay's not better than Conor Gallagher.
Don't warrant anything. Scott McTominay is not better than Conor Gallagher.
You're smoking, bro. You're smoking.
What
has Conor Gallagher?
You know what, Staffy?
David, I'm going to blow your mind.
Have the argument, but
David, I'll blow your mind. What they're looking at doing is a £60 million double deal for both.
That is, they're lost.
Bro, Man United, if you actually go on transfermarket.co.uk and look at our outgoing sales for the past 10 years, right? Barring when we sold Di Maria and when we sold Lukaku, we scrape 10 to 20 million a year in. Like, we just don't sell. We never sell players for money. If we could sell those two for 60 million, I don't know. Part of me just feels all warm and cuddly inside, because honestly, at this time last year, I'd have taken 5 million each just to get them out of the football club. It's what we can then reinvest in. But yeah, listen, for me, I don't know about you, Staffy.
They deserve relegation for that. Their last relegation.
Well, no, for me, I'm saying this. I think Man United should build David Moyes a statue, because it's impeccable, because it's going to lead to us being able to buy Amrabat, who is top class, and maybe even another player, maybe another striker, maybe another goal scorer that plays in North London. Maybe a defender. Like, it's amazing. I can't believe. I think Moisey is so desperate for Man United to love him again. I don't know why. He's going to do us a turn here. But we can't say. I know that some Man United fans say, no, we should get 40 million each, 45 million each. What? Like, I feel like we don't want a chance that don't burn the deal. Get it done. Get them out. Get them moved on. 60 million for the two of them. I think it's a bargain. I think it's not a bargain for us. I think it's a no-brainer for us, Staffy. What do you reckon?
I mean, it's a package deal. You know, when you ever go to the store and like if you get one product alone, it's like, I don't know, 10 pounds. But if you get two together, it's like 15 pounds. It's because it's convenient. It's easy. You got to package together and it makes the transaction a lot quicker. And this is basically what's going on right now. Because if we try to sell Scott alone, then we try to sell Maguire alone, yeah, you could argue that you could get like an extra 5 million here and there, but it's not really written, you know, like it's not guaranteed, you know. But you have a club that's coming in for both of them. And to be very honest, after what I saw from Maguire yesterday, I just feel bad for the guy. I don't even want to slander him. Like, I actually don't want to slander him anymore. I just like feel bad for him. I feel like he has the worst support cast around him. If I'm doing something so bad, I would love Mo as an example to come to be like, yo, stop, listen. You just need to cut the.
My man,
you just need to cut out what you're doing.
My man,
stop doing what you're doing.
Did you just say that you're getting underpaid by 5? Did you just say? Did you guys hear that? He said that we could have gotten more money if we sold them separately.
If you sell them separately, no. If you sell them separately, you can argue that you could get more money. What? Wait, what's so funny about it? If you sell them separately, you can argue that you could get more money. But the fact that West Ham are in for both of them, we're not gonna get the market value.
Just said, take the deal and run. You know what I mean? It might not be here tomorrow,
but I agree. Bro. But I agree with it.
Someone might come back to their senses.
No, but I agree with it. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
If we can sit here and argue that we could have sold them for a little bit more if the deal was separate, but as a package deal, going to one club for the convenience that West Ham are doing for us right now, I would take that price. The only issue was always gonna be Maguire's salary. So once they get that settled, I don't care. 30 million is better than the 20 million that they offered last week, you know, and it just shows me that they really want him. So I would take the deal anyway.
Wait, you said no to 20 million?
Yeah, we turned down 20 million.
20 million, yeah?
Yeah, we rejected 20 million.
Oh, come on.
Dave, they turned out to be right. Because West Ham came with more money. They came back with more money, bro.
Man United doing good business is weird. Do you know what? What you said, though, Staffy, sorry, about Maguire having to leave, it's true. He was being booed at a friendly yesterday. I feel like his relationship, and like you said, support group around him outside of Man United are terrible. Just like Paul Pogba's were. Now, Pogba was a vastly superior footballer. But some of the things him and his team did, in pre-seasons especially, it was almost a case of you're just not helping yourself. Like,
it always hurt.
In the week leading up to a Manchester derby, your agent reveals that you've been offering him to Manchester City. It's never going to, even though you scored a brace in that game, it didn't go down well. You know, 2 or 3 summers on the bounce, he would do interviews talking about new challenges and moving on. His agent was always talking, slagging the club off. And listen,
the day we played Leipzig, remember, in the Champions League when it was the decider, if we lost that day, which we did, we would have been knocked out of the Champions League. That's the same day Mino Raiola came out and he said something about Pogba.
Exactly. And this is the thing. Sometimes they said things that were right, but there's a time and a place for everything. And Maguire, they do different things, but it's the same. They're so delusional. Listen, I know his family love him, and I know that a lot of footballers, their agents and managers are often family members and people close to them. I think it's really important for sports people. And it's why I think there's been a decline in Conor McGregor as a fighter. You need people around you that tell you no. You need people around you that keep your feet 100%. On the ground. And Maguire, I just think he has a team around him that consistently blow smoke up his backside. 100%. And they blame everybody else for the mistakes and the problems. The fact that he even said that he was shocked that he lost the captaincy, it's like, bro, how can you be shocked? You know, you barely got picked last year, 4 games. And even when you did play, you're awful. And I think he'll refine himself at West Ham, though. I actually think a team like West Ham for Moyes, there could even be a point in a year or two where people say, should United have sold him? I guarantee he gets 100%. Back to his Leicester levels. I guarantee he does.
Some of the mistakes he's making, Terry, he's better than that. Let's be very honest. I don't rate him, but like the pass that he made yesterday as an example, like if you look at his Leicester days, you would never make these mistakes. He's just making so many unforced errors to the point where you're just looking at him, you know his confidence is shot. You know, yesterday he had all the time in the world and he still gave up the ball and they scored from it right away. And you can argue if he's playing for West Ham and he doesn't have that monkey on his back anymore, he's playing with less pressure, less criticism, and like it's a clean slate for him. He would find his own self because he wasn't a world beater, but he was definitely better than this. Like And David could sit here and laugh and all that, but we all know Maguire was never this bad. Like, he's actually so bad right now, but he was never this bad until like the past couple
This is what will
years.
happen, Staffy. So when he makes a mistake for Man United, look what's happened this pre-season. And I know I don't know if this happened to anybody at Newcastle. I think it happened to Tonali. Rory knows this happens to Arsenal all the time. I know this has happened to Man United all pre-season. Your new signings, especially the expensive ones, every blade of grass they cover is being watched by rivals. Everyone's sitting there ready with their editing gear to make memes and put clips out there. We know that players see it because a lot of them talk about what they see on social media. If Maguire makes 20 mistakes a season at West Ham, no one's clipping it up. The media will stop talking about it, and suddenly that pressure goes away. And when you're at Man United, we are the biggest club in England. We're definitely the most famous club in England in terms of media attention. Everything you do goes wrong. This guy sometimes got accused of marking his own players. He wasn't. He was doing what other defenders do in those circumstances. But this stuff got twisted. And I just think Maguire, he just couldn't handle that pressure. And Rice is going to go for it this season because he's £100 million. The scrutiny is going to be massive. And rivals won't allow it not to be. You're going to see it at Man United with Onana. We saw over the weekend, he got the goal from the halfway line because the Man United players gave it away. We also saw Ramsdale nearly lobbed from the halfway line. It's happened to Ederson 2 or 3 times in the Premier League, goals from distance like that. It's normal, but suddenly, I literally heard pundits talk about how maybe Onana is going to be the downfall for like sweeper keepers, and it will become a thing of the past because he's been lobbed from distance. I'm sitting there thinking, it's happened before. That suddenly a Man United goalkeeper's doing it, and it's newsworthy. That is what Maguire struggled with the most, and he just won't have that at West Ham because, with all due respect, they don't get clicks, so the media will leave him alone, and he'll be fine. I think he'll go back to his absolute best at West Ham, and people actually what they'll do is they'll accuse Man United of making a mistake, and Man United of ruining him, and Man United of not giving him enough time. That's what I think.
I'll live with that. I don't care.
Well, he has to get out of it, doesn't he?
You know, he does. Do you think he should leave, or do you think he should fight for his place, D?
No. I think he needs to leave because it's Ten Hag's made it clear that he doesn't rate him like that. He's stripped him of the captaincy. He's putting all these defenders in place to start in front of him. I reckon West Ham is more of his level. Like you said, I think Man United's too big for him. I think going back to that kind of a bit upgrade from Leicester, I think he'll get regular first team football. And like you said, like Gareth Southgate said, he has to be playing. So if he's going to sit on the bench at Man United, he's going to lose his England place. And for what? For his pride. He needs to swallow his pride, swallow his ego, and get back to playing football. Because like I said, he's not a bad defender. I just think the way Man United play, I think Paul Merson made a statement just before Maguire signed. And he said he's going to get found out because at Leicester, you know, where they drop deep, I can bring the ball out. With Man United, balls are going to go behind him. He's going to get caught for pace. He's going to get found out. And look what happened. I just don't think it's the right club for him. I think he just needs to swallow his pride, move on, get to West Ham, play some football under Moyes, and get back to the England team, and we'll be good.
Mate, couldn't agree with you more. LJ here says, David, stop smiling. Hashtag the fridge to the bridge. That would have been amazing. It would have been, but it didn't happen, unfortunately. Obviously, if these deals go through, United are likely to close a deal for Amrabat. There's talk of Bayern Munich and Juve kind of sniffing around him. You confident, Staffy, that United will get Amrabat over the line and kind of complete the midfield rebuild?
I think he's set on coming to United anyways, so I'm not really worried by that. We've been serious about him. He's been serious about us, so I don't really what's Juventus going to do? They don't even have money like that, so what are they going to do? They're going to come in and offer like an extra 10, 20 million? What's going to happen with that? No, I don't see anything happening. I still think he joins us, especially with the Fred and Donny deals getting done soon. I think it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, I think what's great as a United fan is that dead wood leaving. So Maguire, Mctominay, Fred, Donny. The only thing I'm upset about is we can't get rid of Martial. And it's because nobody, literally there's not been a single club in world football, not in China, not in Saudi, not in the Conference League. No one has come in and said we're interested in properly interested in signing him. And it's sad. Martial FC are in. Again, I'll call them out because they're not Man United fans. They are in mourning today. They're absolutely, because a lot of them still believe he can turn it round. And I don't know, man. Honestly, isn't
there space for him in the cup competitions? Can't you play in your League Cups, your FA Cups? Not much strain on the body.
Honestly, bro,
he needs to be fit first.
Bro, if there's a really strong wind, if there's a really strong breeze, a gale force wind, there's a chance something breaks. He is so fragile. He's like a candle in the wind. Honest to God,
he hasn't played a single minute in preseason, and he's been injured since the Fulham game. Was it Fulham that we played on the last night? I think it was Fulham.
He injured himself in the end of season speech, like walking, and couldn't play in the FA Cup final. Like, listen, I rated him as a young talent. He never pushed on, and for me, as long as he'll play a few minutes, and he's okay. He's okay. But yeah, he's the only one I'm gutted that we're not able to move on this summer. But a lot of deadwoods going. I'm excited about Man United's forthcoming season.